What's going on, everybody? Josh Engleman for Awesemo.com, and I am back with my NBA DFS contenders on DraftKings for Thursday, May 20th. Now, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you know when this and all of our other content goes live. Follow me on Twitter at Josh Engleman so you can get updates to these sim results as we get closer to lock. And finally, let me know in the comment section who is your favorite and least favorite of my contenders for today's slate. We're back into captain mode now, just a single game. So this is how frequently they are in the optimal lineup in either one of those spots, captain or flex. We're rounding out the bottom of my top 10 with Keelan Martin, O'Shea Brissett, Davis Bertans, Doug McDermott, and Alex Len on the outside looking in. Who will be my favorites? My top 5 plays for today? It is time to find out. First up at number 5, we're paying all the way down. We're going to $2,200 Robin Lopez. I have him projected for 13 fantasy points. There's a 1% chance that he shows up in the captain spot and a 45% chance that he shows up in the utility spot. We have no concept of how this center rotation is really going to work out, but you're going to need to find pay down options and value somewhere. And someone like Robin Lopez, who's basically a 0.8 fantasy point per minute guy, can be okay in limited minutes. I have him in for 17. I don't know if I trust that all that much. There's a lot of variability here for the minutes, but he's 2,200, and you're going to need to pay down somewhere to get the Russell Westbrooks and Domantas Sabonis's of the world. 7 points, 3 boards, and very little else for Lopez. At least it's a pace up spot. I expect Lopez and Len and potentially Gafford to fluctuate through this right now. There's not a real big difference between Lopez and Len. I just think you're trying to cross your fingers and grab the right center. Now, in the more slightly logical plays for today, number 4 is 5K Justin Holiday, projected for 25.5. 6% chance of being in the captain spot, 54% chance of being in the flex. That's 60% total. You can see we stepped up in tier pretty sizably. I gave him 36 minutes. I'm not entirely sure we see Edmund Sumner here today. I think Justin Holiday is the most likely scenario to pick up all the wing minutes. We're obviously not going to see Karis LeVert either. 0.7 fantasy points per minute isn't really great, but you're getting there on minutes. 14% usage, 12 points, 4 boards, 2 assists, and 2 stocks in that monster pace-up spot against Washington. This is the fastest game you could have in the league, so I'm happy to get to Justin Holiday. Hopefully, he falls into a couple steals, potentially. That's the goal, right? And every shot that he takes, you're hoping he knocks it down. It's going to be relatively limited. But 5K, that's not a bad price tag on this particular slate. Now at number 3, we're paying up quite a bit. We're going to $10,200 Bradley Beal, projected for 48. He's in the captain spot optimally 17% of the time. 50% of the time he's in the flex. That gives him a 67% chance of being in the optimal lineup. Now we know that he is not healthy, but if he's going to be out there, I've got to still roster Bradley Beal. So I've got him in for 38 minutes, 1.27 fantasy points per minute. That's 34% usage and 33 real points. 4.5 boards and 4 assists, plus almost 2 stocks. It doesn't feel great because we know that he's a little dinged up, but they're playing for their playoff lives, and I assume Bradley Beal is going to give it everything he possibly has. I can't prioritize him over the next 2 guys, obviously, but for sure you're not going to regret paying up for Bradley Beal, and that's why you see him in the optimal 2/3 of the time. Coming in at number 2, I honestly thought he'd be number 1, but that would be Russell Westbrook. He's 13,400, and that price is just pretty tough to get to. 61.4 fantasy point projection. He's the optimal captain 27% of the time. He's the optimal flex play 49% of the time. In total, he's in the optimal lineup 77% of the time. I gave him 40 minutes, 1.54 fantasy points per minute. You can't really avoid that. 30% usage, 25 points, 13 boards, and 12 assists, plus 2 stocks. Look, you know what you're getting out of Russ, but if they lose, they're going home. You know you're getting every single bit of Russell Westbrook today. The problem is we've got another guy in this game that's kind of doing the same stuff that Russ has been doing, only he just happens to be quite a bit cheaper. Now, before we get to that number 1 contender, one last reminder, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and then hit the notification bell so you know when everything goes live. Then, follow me on Twitter at Josh Engleman. You do not want to miss the updates to my sim results as we get closer to lock. Finally, let me know in the comment section. I want your favorite contender, your least favorite contender, and the guy that you think should be on this list that you don't see. Edging out Russell Westbrook, $11,200 Domantas Sabonis. He's projected for 54.5. He's in the captain spot 34% of the time. He's in the flex spot 45% of the time. He shows up in the optimal 79% of the time. I got him in for 38 minutes. He's trying to save the Indiana season. 1.43 fantasy points per minute, 26% usage. He's doing it all. Almost 24 points, 14 boards, 7 assists, 2 stocks. Malcolm Brogdon's dinged up. Karis LeVert is out. The Pacers don't have much choice. Domantas Sabonis is going to do everything he possibly can. He's throwing the kitchen sink at this game. And because he's 11-2 and saving quite a bit of money off of Russ, he just gets the nod. So, Domantas Sabonis is the #1 contender on DraftKings for today. Alrighty, folks, that will do it. Those are my NBA DFS contenders on DraftKings for Thursday, May 20th. There is no process show today, unfortunately, but there's a FanDuel version of this video if you want to check that out. Strategy show at 10 a.m. with Lofty, and then I will be back tonight on the deeper dive, kicking off at, I believe, 5, but I'm going to be perfectly honest, I don't know what time lock is tonight. I haven't looked. I assume it's 7, or at least I hope it's 7, which means deeper dive at 5. Good luck tonight, everybody. I will be back again tomorrow morning for another edition of the Contenders.